All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, Friday, September 10th, 2021, for the DHSA Delaware Day 2021 Healthcare Workforce Recruiting event and panel discussion. We are so excited to have everyone here with us today. My name is Pam Gardner. I'm the lead program manager for the Delaware Health Sciences Alliance. Today's host and presenting sponsor and facilitator of this event and bringing all of Delaware's health systems together in a collaborative workforce recruiting initiative. On behalf of Dr. Omar Khan, DHSA's president and CEO, I'd like to thank all of our partners and recruiting representatives that are here with us today. Just quickly, a little bit about DHSA. DHSA was formed in 2009 with our founding partners, Christiana Care, Thomas Jefferson University, Nemours Children's Health, and the University of Delaware, and later expanded to also include in our membership Bay Health, the Delaware Academy of Medicine, and the Delaware Public Health Association, and the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. We are focused and prioritize creating and establishing innovative collaborations among experts in medical practice, health economics and policy, population sciences, public health, biomedical sciences and engineering, as well as medical education, workforce development initiatives, and health research. Before we get into our panel discussion, just a few housekeeping items. I do want to make sure that everyone is aware that today's event is being recorded, and we will be posting this event through various channels to ensure that those who were unable to join us today still have an opportunity to learn about all of our partners today and the opportunities that they're offering. For our attendees, if you're interested in any of the opportunities that are highlighted today and on the DHSA website for the Delaware Day event page, please submit your resumes, CVs, and cover letters of interest to me through email at pgardner@dhsa.org, and we will connect with the appropriate recruiting partners accordingly. And again, I just want to take another moment to highlight and thank our partners today, representing Bay Health, BB Healthcare, Christiana Care, Nemours Children's Health, Tidal Health Nanticoke, Trinity Health and St. Francis Healthcare, and Westside Family Healthcare as well. We'll be hearing from our recruiting partners representing these wonderful institutions. They'll share a little bit about what makes each of their institutions special. We'll again highlight those opportunities that are currently available and anticipated to be available for applications. And then at the end, we'll go ahead and take questions from the audience. If you have a question, please feel free to use the Q&A or chat feature within the Zoom platform, and we will take care of those at the end. Thank you so much. We are going to go ahead and get started, and let's see. All right. Looks like our partner from Bay Health may be running a few minutes late, so we will come back to Bay Health. And we're going to start with BB. Unfortunately, Bill Cook, the recruiting director, ran into some last minute candidate scheduling conflicts and was unable to join us today. However, has provided me with some speaking points to highlight Phoebe. They're very excited to be included and wish that they could be here today with everyone. Should you have questions specific to BB, please do put those in the chat or the Q&A function. If Dr. Khan and I are unable to answer those ourselves, we will certainly reach out to our partner and then circle back with our attendees via email to answer any of those questions that we can't address today, but want to make sure that we ensure you have an opportunity to ask those so we can get you the appropriate information. So who is and what is BB Healthcare? BB is a 210-bed not-for-profit independent hospital that was founded in 1916 and is located about a half mile from the Atlantic Ocean in the beautiful seaside town of Lewis, Delaware. BB serves more than 200,000 residents of Sussex County, Some of the area towns include, in addition to Lewis, Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach, Bethany Beach, Fenwick Island, Millville, Oceanville, Georgetown, and Milton, which is home to the world famous Dogfish Head Brewery, and many more great communities. Because of its high standard of living, it's one of the fastest growing areas in the country, and BB is growing with it. BB Medical Group now has more than 45 primary and specialty care practices scattered throughout the county with more than 200 providers, and they're looking to add more. So again, don't forget, submit your interest in cover letters and resumes to pgardner@dhsa.org. Thanks to a multi-million-dollar expansion, BB is adding a brand new surgical hospital in Rehoboth Beach, and they just recently opened the South Coastal Campus in Millville, which includes a state-of-the-art emergency department and cancer center. If you're interested in teaching, BB is starting a family medicine residency program that's scheduled to launch in June of 2023 under the direction of Dr. Joyce Robert. And BB also offers the Margaret H. Rollins School of Nursing on site. And again, they'd like to highlight they're a half mile from the beach and the ocean. So again, here are on the screen the anticipated and current openings within BB. If you're interested, please don't hesitate in reaching out to me with your submission, and we'll make sure that we connect appropriately with the BB recruiting team. Let's see. Next up, I would like to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can introduce our partners from Christiana Care, Lauren Mahaney and Frank Gallagher. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Frank and I are excited to speak with you today. We're two of the senior physician recruiters with Christiana Care, and we'll follow suit and do a little intro on who we are. So Christiana Care is a nonprofit teaching health system with more than 290 residents and fellows. We have about 1,300 beds across 3 different hospital locations. We've got about 200 and I'd say 36 beds at our Wilmington site, over 900 beds at our Christiana campus in Newark, Delaware, which is our largest of the 3. That's also where our cancer center is located. And then about a 75-bed hospital at our Cecil campus. So within those 1,300 beds, we have about 13,000 caregivers. And we also have extensive networks of outpatient services, home health care, medical aid units, level 1 trauma center with closed ICU, level 3 neonatal intensive care unit, comprehensive stroke center, and we are regional centers of excellence in heart and vascular care, cancer care, and women's health. So we're located northern Delaware and Maryland. So our providers happily live in Maryland, in Delaware, in New Jersey, and in Pennsylvania. They're all able to do the commute into our health system. So we're excited to be here today, answer any questions that you have, and go from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen again because I want to make sure that we highlight the opportunities at Christiana Care. And again, these can again be found on the DHSA website, dhsa.org, under Workforce Recruitment, Delaware Day 2021. But again, want to highlight here all of the opportunities that are anticipated and currently available within Christiana Care that Lauren just highlighted. So again, and now I'd like to introduce our partners from Nemours, Fernando Moncada and Zach Wilberger. We look forward to hearing about Nemours Children's Health.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for having us here today. It's definitely exciting to be a part of this event. Nemours started back in 1935 when Alfred I. DuPont died and left behind a $6 million trust to create an academic facility where no child would be turned away based on their ability to pay. And that created the DuPont Institute, which up until very recently has been known as Alfred I. DuPont Hospital for Children. We recently unveiled a new branding effort last week, and we are now known as Nemours Children's Hospital Delaware. As the health system has expanded, we also have specialty care centers in Pensacola, which is attached to Wolfson Children's Hospital. We have another specialty care center in, pardon me, one in Jacksonville, Florida, attached to Wolfson Children's, one in Pensacola, attached to West Florida. And 8 years ago, we actually opened up Nemours Children's Hospital, Orlando, which makes us one of the few children's health systems who operate 2 freestanding children's hospitals. Specifically to Delaware, the Nemours Children's Hospital, Delaware is a 195-bed children's hospital. We also have 9 partnership hospitals throughout the state for which we offer various subspecialty services amongst the numerous outpatient offices we have as well, which are offering various subspecialty services, including primary care and therapy. And I will pass the mic to Fernando.
Thank you, Zach. So good morning, everyone. In the spirit of, we'd like to say, AIDED, my name is Fernando Moncada. I have the privilege of being a physician recruiter here at the Nemours Children's Health System. So in the spirit of not assuming anything, I want to make sure that you guys are aware that Nemours is one of the nation's largest integrated pediatric healthcare system. That's what we do. We're the subject matter experts in peds, specialty and subspecialty needs. We have footprints, as my colleague has mentioned, in the Delaware area. We have partnerships, some of them which are here, and it's great to see some faces and connect faces with our partners in the Delaware area. Something that I think that I want to touch upon is the culture, right? We could all have great business plans and strategies, but at the end of the day, I feel that culture eats up that business plan and strategies that we have. And we go a long way in driving a particular culture that is inclusive, that is diverse, and we have senior leadership actually heavily involved in leading the way on conversations, on looking at policy, looking at things from turnover rate, promotions. How do we go about having these conversations, listening, initiatives throughout the organization? And they could be range from little things like just putting some verbiage on our job postings to make sure that people are aware that DE&I is a core element in what we do and who we serve, to such things as being an anti-racism organization. And what does that mean? That we actually look at policies and look at things such as our mask, right? I mean, some of you, I'm sure that people want to wear things on their mask with all kinds of verbiage and all kinds of things on your mask. This is just one example, right? We signed off and agreed that it's okay to wear masks that says Black Lives Matters, because they do matter. So that's just a small little sign of how we are go about doing the DE&I. From little to big things. What else can I tell you? So the footprint, there are a total of 2 independent hospitals, one in Delaware, which, as my colleague said, another one at NCH. And that allows us to have a footprint in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, of course, the Delaware area community, all through Central Florida, up to the Panhandle, and the ability to have partnerships with adult medicine hospitals. So I can continue going on talking about culture, DE&I initiatives, but I know we have more to discuss. So thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much, Fernando and Zach, for sharing with us that overview of Nemours. And I just want to call attention to the screen. Hopefully you can see my slide highlighting those anticipated opportunities with Nemours. These opportunities are specific to the Delaware Valley region. I know that they touched on the larger footprint, so I do just want to call attention to that. But again, if you're interested in securing employment and exploring opportunities within Nemours, please submit your resumes, cover letters, and opportunities of interest to pgardner@dhsa.org. I would like to take just a moment to pivot quickly and introduce the Delaware Health Sciences Alliance President and CEO, and welcome Dr. Omar Khan for a few comments, and then we'll get back to our recruiting partners.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for your time and energy in being with us here today. Pam has done an exceptional job in putting together this team and this event, and for the last several years, this has really been one of the high points of the year. And as some of you know, I think I was telling this story to Mark Duyard over dinner a couple of years ago. This started as an event I stole from my former home state of Vermont, where they used to have something called Vermont Day, where once a year, all the health systems would get together at a place and do recruiting together, kind of a lift all boats approach. This was, more than a decade ago, before accountable care organizations and so forth. Small states have a tremendous amount to gain and to leverage in terms of our strengths, because we're a community of neighbors. I know the vast majority of you by face and by name, and have connected with many of you, and that has just been a pleasure. And for our learners who come in, for our new attendings, new providers who come in, they like seeing the fact that there are diverse opportunities to meet their interests and needs in whichever county that we're in, whichever health system, federally qualified health systems, a hospital in Sussex County, a health system in Newcastle County, in Kent County, and I think that's wonderful for them to see. So I again thank you guys for your energy in bringing this here today. One of the big benefits of this format is that, having been in touch with all of the program directors at all of the institutions now, we can send this to everyone and hopefully save you guys some trouble and some road tripping across the state. And residents will come in not just at one event, they'll come in throughout the year and say, hey, I was wondering, can I talk to so-and-so about this opportunity? We're like, yes, you absolutely can. Here's, watch this video and send your CV in and we'll get you connected. So again, thank you so much. This is an amazing opportunity for really all of Delaware. Thank you for what you're doing for the future health workforce of the state. Huge thing for all of our health systems, and the Alliance, of course, is healthcare workforce, and you guys are on the front lines of making that happen. So I very much want to echo what my friend Fernando just said about this is a new world. We do have to recruit based on new ground realities, but frankly, those are old realities. We're always in the business of serving our community. All of you are always recruiting to serve our community. Let's make sure our providers reflect that community as well going forward. So again, thank you very much for your time and effort, and looking forward to listening to your wisdom and thoughts going forward. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. I'd like to invite our colleague, Mark Deward from Bay Health, to highlight our partner at Bay Health in Kent and Sussex County, and we'll share their anticipated openings momentarily.
Good morning, Pam, Dr. Khan, colleagues. Nice to see everybody. It's interesting to do this. I remember the first time we did this a couple years ago at Del Tech, and we actually recruited a future resident there and hired a physician from that meeting. So it was worthwhile. And I think last year we skipped everything because of COVID, if I remember correctly, or we did a virtual platform. But anyway, happy to be here, happy to be representing Bay Health. Bay Health is the only hospital in Kent County. And we have two facilities. The Kent campus in Dover, a 260 bed facility, where we offer a very wide range of services from general elective and bariatric surgeries to cardiothoracic surgery, neurosurgery, and a variety of orthopedic procedures. We have a very busy emergency department here. We're the only hospital in the county and nothing ever goes on divert. So it's a busy place because of the diversity of our community, which includes a fairly large Amish population. We have a very wide range of pathology that we see here. Our second hospital is down in Milford. It's a brand new facility that was opened 2.5 years ago. And we're in the process already of expanding that. Again, we're growing with the population of Delaware and looking to provide as many services in the community as we can, so that people do not have to travel. there's a list of our openings. We have openings in primary care. We have openings in cardiology, pretty much across the spectrum of medical specialties, and very happy to talk to people who are interested in coming in and supporting our growth and growing with us.
Sorry, I had to come off mute. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I would just like to highlight, as I had mentioned for Phoebe earlier, you recently launched a family medicine and internal medicine residency training programs, offering more opportunities for Delawareans to be trained and physicians to be trained to serve the Delaware community. And I know that you're also in the process of launching a general surgery residency program. So I think important to highlight as well is we continue to expand the opportunities for physicians to train here in Delaware as well. And so on my screen again, anticipated openings for Bay Health, please feel free to submit to pgardner@dhsa.org, and we will ensure that we get you connected with their recruiting team, Mark and his awesome team over there. Thank you so much.
One other thing to add, Pam, that I forgot, you mentioned the residency programs, and I can't believe I forgot that, but we also have an emergency medicine residency program that will be starting in 2023, and a transitional year program that will be starting in 2023 as well. So once fully staffed, we anticipate having about 110 residents here on campus. So we're very excited about that growth as well.
Wonderful. So are we. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite Helen Conberry from Trinity to highlight Trinity and St. Francis Health here in Delaware.
Hi, thanks very much, Pam, and thank you, Delaware Health Sciences Alliance, for inviting myself and the rest of the team here. So yes, I represent St. Francis Healthcare, community hospital in Wilmington, Delaware, serving the community since 1924. St. Francis is part of Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic. That's a relatively new name in the region, formed in 2018, bringing together 3 independent health systems in the Delaware Valley. So what it has allowed St. Francis to do is be a larger part of a single leadership, as well as having the financial support of Trinity Health at large, which is a 93 hospital system nationwide. St. Francis specifically is licensed 219 beds. As I mentioned, just a small community teaching hospital. They have a family medicine residency program. They are joint certified in hospital, home care, stroke center, and perinatal care, and also Commission on Cancer accredited for hematology oncology. Speaking about the culture, I always think that's a really important piece. As it was mentioned earlier, St. Francis lives up to their way of calling it the St. Francis way. It's the type of hospital still where you can walk through and people are going to wave and say hello to you by name. It's a rather small medical staff of about 400 physicians. But in the time that I've been recruiting for them, which has been about 2 years since Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic was formed, I've seen a medical staff and leadership, both hospital and medical group, that are proactive in the collaboration and warm environment that they provide to new physicians coming on board, and always very active in the physician recruitment that I'm doing alongside them. Let's see. As far as openings, they have a huge expansion for primary care, where we have a lot of capital investment going into increasing our footprint in primary care at a couple of our locations, Center of Hope in Newark, Delaware, as well as our North Wilmington in Falk Road, and that would be family medicine. We are also looking for cardiology, general cardiology at this point in time, and hematology oncology, as looking for experience preferred, but would also consider someone leaving fellowship as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that overview. Really appreciate you highlighting St. Francis and the opportunities there, both training and for attendings.
Can I just add a quick piece to that?
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Khan would like to jump in.
I just wanted to mention real quick from a personal perspective of St. Francis. It has a near and dear place in my heart as well. All of the health systems here do to some degree, but the residency program at St. Francis is the first one in the state of any sort, the family medicine residency program. My very first job out of high school was actually at St. Francis as a phlebotomist, and it's a wonderful place to work up in northern Delaware as well. So anyway, thank you again, Helen, for participating.
Thank you, Dr. Khan.
Now I'd like to invite our partner and colleague, Francis Jabari of Tidal Health, representing Tidal Health Nanticoke, which is located in Lower Delaware.
Perfect. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Dr. Khan, for pulling this together. I'm new to the group. I represent Tidal Health. So as probably you all know, Tidal Health encompasses Peninsula Regional, Maryland, Nanticoke Hospital, and we have a McCready Memorial Hospital, Critical Access Hospital. We've been serving the Delmarva Peninsula for the past 125 years or so, and we have pulled together these entities to better serve our community. The entities are working very closely with how we gather new talent. We have an effervescence here. We are growing exponentially. We've gone from 80 providers to over 260 in the last 3 years. So the growth here is really quite astounding. We're really focused on quality care and patient experience, and about the culture and fit. We are very, we treat our family and friends, and that's who we really are at the core. I have sat in an orientation and the CEO would say he doesn't care much about HCAHPS scores, doesn't really care about satisfaction scores. What he cares about is people. And if we care about our people, everything else falls in place. So that's who we are as a system. We offer a wide range of services from neurosurgery, cardiothoracic surgery, breast surgery with oncoplasty. We are expanding our cancer care center. We have 3 award-winning cancer centers in Seaford, in Salisbury, and in Ocean Pines. We're growing our technologies. We've just installed the Da Vinci robot at Nanticoke Hospital, which is a big step for us, and serving the cardiothoracic patients, I think is going to be a big boom for the area here, as well as in Salisbury. I think at the end of the day, Delmarva has a channel of healthcare now that, with all of these different great systems, have a continuity of care that they didn't have before. And Tidal Health is proud to be part of that growing care system. We're expanding in Millsboro. It seems like Delaware is the hotbed of growth these days, so we're taking advantage to have that happen. The other really cool part of what's happening here at Tidal Health is also, like many of you mentioned, the GME program. So we have our internal medicine residency program starting. We've hired a program director about 8 months ago, and we're off to a final start on that. And next in line is our general surgery residency program. All of those programs have local buy-in and will be rounding through Nanticoke. And I think that effervescence with the residents coming in is going to add a different feel for the culture here as well. So our openings, like everyone else, I think that at the end of the day, I don't think my list got to you, but I can sort of mirror everyone else's openings. We are definitely looking at our surgical specialties. We have a robust family medicine practice, but we really are looking at our specialties and how we can deliver that surgical care that people need. It's interesting, we have 5 general surgeons starting with us this month. So our bariatrics program is alive and well again. And I'm looking forward to orientation on Monday. As you recruiters can imagine, it's nice to see the fruits of your labor sitting in an orientation chair. So we are growing exponentially. It's a great place to practice. We are growing in a way that is purposeful, and we're hiring the right people for the right positions. So I'd be glad to take any questions later and share my openings, and I'll get those to Pam.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Francis. And I'm so excited to hear about the continued expanding residency training opportunities that all of our Delaware health systems are adding to bring and train more folks here to serve our community. So thank you for highlighting that. And we'll update our event page noted here with the opportunities for title. So just want to make sure that everyone's aware that we'll get those updated as soon as we've received them. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Francis, thank you so much for sharing that. I noticed that your background is one of the most enviable here. You're showing us the beach while most of us are sitting here in the offices. So thanks for that, making us a little jealous here.
That's all about our beach brand.
I like that. I wanted to give a shout out to my old friend and colleague, Dr. Joe Kim, who trained up here with us in Delaware and northern Newcastle County and moved down to Seaford and practices family medicine there. Wonderful family doc and a good friend, and a great guy to, I think, for new folks to connect with, potentially to learn about family medicine, up and down the state. So, Francis, thank you.
Pass that along to him. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite our partner Kimberly Wright from Westside Family Healthcare to provide us an overview on their organization.
Thank you, Pam. We really appreciate you inviting us. It's so good to be here. We did participate last.
I'm not sure if maybe you're on mute.
Okay, let's see.
Pam, I can hear.
No, yeah, I took my. Okay, great. Because I was like, ooh, okay, because I took myself off mute. Okay, everybody can hear me? All right, great. All right, so Westside Family Healthcare, we are a leading FQHC. We serve our community by clinics. We have community clinics two in Wilmington. We serve one in Bear. We have one in Newark, and we also have one in Dover. We partner with Christiana Care each year. Their residents come from there to serve as well. We do take pride in serving the underserved community, serving individuals without the ability to pay. And also we employ some of the best providers. We actually have 2 new providers starting on Monday. Our current HRSA score is 18, and we look forward to you guys just checking out Westside Family Healthcare as maybe a place where you would be able to serve as well. We do take pride in serving for the greater good. So we have opened the family medicine physicians and family nurse practitioners, as well as dentist positions at this time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for joining us today and for providing that overview of Westside and your anticipated and current openings. Again, for any of the openings that have been highlighted today and for any of the institutions that have been highlighted today, please submit your cover letters, your CVs and resumes to pgardner@dhsa.org, along with detail of your specialty of interest and institutions of interest, and we'll ensure that we connect you appropriately. We're really excited and really proud to be partnered with this event and grateful for the collaborative nature that we have here in Delaware, in serving Delaware and providing access to quality care across all of the systems that we offer here. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Khan. We're going to open up our Q&A session of the event, and I believe he had the opportunity to meet with some folks ahead of the event. So while our audience takes a moment to utilize the chat or Q&A function, Dr. Khan will give us some of the questions that he's received in advance of today's event. Dr. Khan?
Great. Thank you so much, Pam, and thank you, everyone. And I just wanted to mention for our Westside colleagues and I have my colleagues on here from Christiana Care. Hi, Frank and Lauren. Just reminded me as well that that learners is such an amazing opportunity and a pipeline to not only do the right thing and to develop the providers and physicians of the future, but lead directly to the recruiting pipeline. Westside, for example, has a partnership with Christiana Care to train our family medicine residents who not only rotate through that system, but also establish their residency practice there. And of course, that then leads to future career opportunities as well. Similar to the work that all of you are doing, whether it's at Bay Health or down in Seaford at Tidal Health, of course at Christiana Care and at Nemours and at St. Francis. The learners are a big pool, and those are the folks who today are listening. Whether you as the learners are listening live right now on Friday, or you're listening in the comfort of your pajamas, either way. The whole idea is that we want you to send in your information to us so that we can get you linked to these wonderful colleagues and recruiters. We're having several questions in here, and some of them will come through the chat, some of them will come through our emails. So we'll try our best to moderate here and try to send them to the right folks. So several of the questions that we've gotten fall into these categories. So I'm just going to read them out first, and then we'll maybe ask who would like to take a few on. The first one is around loan repayment options and what those conditions might be. And just to kind of preface that, we recognize loan repayment options come in several different flavors. They might be federally qualified loan repayment options. So we'd love to hear from those of you who are in areas or who have practices in areas where you would qualify for the federal loan repayment programs. There are others which institutions offer themselves as a loan repayment or other incentive that's important. So that's one cluster of questions. The other one was around similar kind of financial incentivization of housing assistance and loans. We all know that as medical students, unfortunately, come out of school with the equivalent of what used to be a house mortgage on top of their heads, right? They come out with $200,000 to $300,000 in debt from undergraduate, graduate school, medical school. So that's a lot of money. And so, of course, then, kind of tough to jump into a new house loan. And I think they look for assistance to figure that out. So that's another cluster of questions. And the one more is around work schedules. A lot of our current folks, and frankly, even back when I just came out of training, we were looking for some flexibility in work schedules to be able to spend time and take care of others, whether parents or children or others, and just have a more of a flexibility, part-time schedule perhaps, or 60-70%. A lot of folks are coming out looking for those opportunities, whether in primary care specialties or procedural interventional surgical specialties. So those are kind of the cluster of some things we've gotten through the pipeline so far. Let's maybe start with the loan repayment options, and we can certainly rely on you guys to just jump in if you'd like, and kind of raise your hand if you'd like, and please jump in. Looks like Zach Wilberger, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Khan. Yeah, Nemours Children's Health, as a not-for-profit health system, we do qualify, you would qualify for that public service loan forgiveness program. So that is something that you would file on your own through the federal government, but with us being not-for-profit, you are eligible, and that is something that we are able to assist you in walking through. I know coming out of training, some people are more familiar with the process than others, but we certainly do have resources available to help guide you through that process.
Thank you so much, Zach. And would anyone else like to comment? Mark, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about Bay Health's work in that area as well.
Took me a minute to unmute, sorry. We also are a nonprofit, so I think most of us in the state are. But in addition to that, we certainly encourage all of our candidates and new hires to participate in the state loan repayment program. I mean, Delaware has put together a wonderful program. It's very easy to use. It's very well funded at this point. It's a considerable attraction to people looking to come. As Francis shows this picture of the beach, we have a loan repayment program and we have the beach. So you can't go wrong either way.
I like the little friendly competition there. Next time, Mark, we got to take the beach background as well. That's good. I envy that.
There you go.
Very good. Helen Convery, around St. Francis programs, that area. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Khan. So yes, just adding on to both the federal and the state, St. Francis and Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic about a year ago realized that that has become a very consistent question around loan repayments. And so we do actually have a medical group policy that will pay direct to student loans. So that's always a conversation that I can have with our candidates and discuss more of the details around that. But in addition to the two, the federal and the state, we do actually offer direct payments as part of our employment agreement for physicians coming out of training, fresh out of training, I should say.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I don't want to put my colleagues from the Academy of Medicine here on the spot, but Kate, if at some point we might want to share with the team some of the opportunities available through the Delaware Academy of Medicine around loan repayment options as well. And if folks would qualify, we can certainly share those out later, or you're welcome to speak to that now if you like.
Yeah, no, we're happy to share them out later.
Very good. Thank you. Lauren Mahaney from Christiana Care, please go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, yes, thank you. So just like it was said earlier, we are a nonprofit academic, so we do the federal loan forgiveness program as well. And for us, it's 10 years and 100% forgiven. So thank you.
That's great, Lauren. So we can put that information out as well. And would you say that one more time? I didn't catch that. So how many years and 100% forgiven?
Oh, sure. Sorry. 10 years and 100% forgiven. And we have documentation on that we can absolutely circulate to do the step-by-step guide to make it as pain-free and seamless as possible.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Lauren, and Frank as well. And Frank Gallagher, yeah, please go ahead. You want to jump in on Lauren's comment? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Khan. Just to piggyback on what Lauren said, and I'll say here at Christiana Care, specifically for primary care, Christiana Care does indeed offer an in-house internally developed loan forgiveness program for primary care providers. So if anyone is interested in primary care opportunities with Christiana Care, more than happy to walk them through what that might look like as well.
Very good. Thank you. Kimberly, did you want to speak to Westside's offerings in that area? Please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to echo all of my other not-for-profit colleagues that we do assist with the loan forgiveness program, and we help folks out with their applications every year. And we also participate in HRSA participants as well.
I'll jump in as well. So Title Health does the same. We participate in the federal and state programs. And we also have our own internal loan forgiveness program. I think to just dovetail into what Helen said, we craft our contracts into a manner that we try to help our physicians as much as we can. We are in the process of putting together something formal. I like the 10 years, 100% forgiven. I have to look at that. That's innovative and disruptive. So I like that. But we do try to make sure that we have them complete within 5. So each physician is a little bit different. But we do offer those programs as well.
So I think our new graduating residents, especially, I think, recognize how our health systems are really kind of pull together really a suite of attractive options for them to choose. Essentially, we want to make it so that a new graduate from medical school can choose the residency of their choice. They can do whatever they want to without regard to whether this is going to pay my bills. So if you want to go into primary care, you want to go into family medicine or pediatrics or general surgery or something that you've been told that, you're going to have a tougher time paying off the bills, I hope you guys are hearing the message that the health systems are here to support your choices. And that's actually why, to my recruiter friends, I would say it's so important to have medical students also hear the message that we're conveying today, because that actually dictates their choice of residency. So if they hear this really positive and amazing message, then they go into residencies, which ultimately will come back to serve the state of Delaware. And of course, for graduating residents, it's even more important. You've had a salary now, you know what that looks like. Now you know how to manage your finances. but you know how pivotal these kind of loan programs can be to helping you make the right decision. So thank you to my colleagues for articulating those options, whether it's
Can I
created
jump
by.
in one more?
Yeah, Francis, go ahead, please. Yeah.
So the other part, that's a very good point. The president of our medical group is a practicing OBGYN who came out of residency with a lot of loans. So this is very near and dear to her heart, and she realizes the burdens placed on residents when they come out with all of the financial differences that they have. All of a sudden they have a paycheck when they had none. So we also provide them financial counseling. So what does it mean now that you have a paycheck? So when they have their onboarding sessions with us, we introduce them to a financial advisor as well to help them navigate that loan repayment process and any other strategies they need to put in place as a new provider.
Very good, thank you. And I recognize from my own experience when I gained employment, that was an important feature. I think as a new resident, I think most of our health systems offer access to financial advising. We've noticed that the new folks typically don't take you up on that, and then you get 3-4 years into practice and you're like, yeah, now I'm making, what most folks would consider a bit more like real money, and I need to figure out what this looks like. So I think that's actually quite helpful. I want to go back to something that keeps coming up, and I know you guys are sensitive to this as well, the idea of lifestyle and kind of where you live. And I wanted to give folks here an opportunity to kind of speak a little bit about the uniqueness that your opportunity offers, your geographic location. Hey, maybe you're connected to a yoga studio. Maybe there's a in-house coffee bar available, something like that. Maybe there's access to other things. So just want to give you guys the opportunity to talk a little bit about your neighborhoods and your communities and what your attending physicians tend to do, away from work as well. So ponder that. We can certainly think about that. Somebody wants to jump in, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in.
Zach, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Nemours, that's one of the really great things that we do offer, especially there in the Delaware area, is that we have such a large footprint. Nemours services the whole of the Delaware Valley. While Nemours Children's Hospital Delaware is there in Wilmington, we serve all of the Delaware Valley up into the Philly metro area, over into parts of New Jersey and Maryland as well. And this includes the partnership hospitals we work, as well as these outpatient centers as well. So there are numerous opportunities throughout the area with the health system. So if you are looking to be closer to the Philly area, there's options there. If you are looking to be closer to Wilmington, there's options there. And if you're looking to be closer over to the beach, there's options there as well. So it's really about determining what sort of lifestyle that you're looking for and is going to be best for you and for your family. And we have many options to help you find that.
Zach, thanks very much. Your Northern Newcastle County neighbor as well, Lauren Mahaney had a comment there. So Lauren, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Khan. So one of the really unique things about Christiana Care and its locations is there's so many wonderful jumping off points. You can really have urban, suburban, rural, whatever living environment and whatever extracurricular activities individuals are looking for can really be tapped into. We're about, maybe 30 minutes or so from the Philly International Airport, maybe an hour and 15 from Baltimore International Airport, probably about an hour and a half from Annapolis, 2 hours to DC, 2 hours to New York City. So any kind of fun activity, any kind of cultural event, any kind of anything that our providers are looking for is really accessible with a rather easy commute. I mean, I myself live on a farm, and I'm able to commute into Christiana Care in Newark, Delaware in about 40 minutes. So the location is a really special thing, and it allows individuals to also, feed their personal needs while also fulfilling their professional goals. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Lauren. I think that's really important, I know Frank Gallagher, also from Christiana Care, would like to chime in here. So Frank, go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Khan. When you mentioned lifestyle, in my mind, I immediately went to work-life balance in many ways. And I'll just say that one of the most unique things about Christiana Care that I always make a point to stress to physician candidates that we're talking to is to make them aware of our new parental leave program. Christiana Care, as some of you may know, is really one of the only employers in the region to offer 12 weeks of paid protected time off for the birth or adoption of a child. So as we talk about, when we talk to residents who are coming out of training, beginning their not only professional careers, but they're starting a family perhaps, this is a benefit like no other. And we have lots and lots of employees at Christiana Care who are taking advantage of this program as they should. And it really lends itself to a much healthier work-life balance and overall fulfillment in working here and being part of the community for a long time.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lauren and Frank.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. And I think the really other wonderful thing to tack on to that, because that is so powerful, is it goes in effect on day one of the employment. So there's no grace period. The second they walk in, they have access to it. And as Frank had mentioned, we call it paid parental leave. It's available for both parents if they're employed with Christiana.
Very good. You know, as a native Delawarean, I love all parts of the state equally, and even the surrounding areas as well. And I really appreciate, in fact, how much the state contributes to culture and opportunities up and down, no matter where you are. And I think, as Lauren, as you mentioned, it's a very commutable area. You could live, you could be 60 minutes away. You could be in a different state. You could be in different counties. You could be 2 counties away. And I remember, as a kid going down driving before Route 1, you could drive down through and you could see the wonderful parts of Delaware. You could see Odessa and Smyrna and Dover, before getting down to, Milford and Milton and then Rehoboth ultimately. So now Route 1 bypasses some of that, but I always enjoy when I go down to see my colleagues in Dover and whether it's Bay Health or at Delaware State University. And that's been wonderful. So Mark Duyard, you want to make a pitch for the wonderful sights and scenes of Dover as well?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Khan. One of the things that I wanted to mention was that just before COVID started, we were actually in the process of instituting a formalized physician wellness program that's run by one of our retired physicians. So in addition to, classes and, relaxation sessions, there's actually a formal program for that, as well as monthly presentations. So it's something that we take seriously. And of course, with what we've been dealing with the last 18 months, physician burnout certainly is a very, very real concern. So we take that seriously. In terms of lifestyle, I can just echo what other people have said. We don't call this lower, slower Delaware just because it sounds clever. The pace of life is slower. People down in this neck of the woods tend to get upset if they have to sit through a traffic light twice. The commute time between our 2 hospitals, which are 20 miles apart, is about 25 minutes. Except on Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons in the summertime with the beach traffic. But, it's a much more relaxed pace of life. And as, Lauren said, from here, I can be in Philadelphia in an hour and 15 minutes. I can be in DC in less than 2 hours. I can be in New York City in 2.5 hours. So you have access to all that culture without having to, live in the middle of that. And the other thing that no one's mentioned yet is the cost of living in Delaware. It's a very tax-friendly state. I moved here and just in property taxes, I got a $10,000 a year raise, coming here from New York. And so it's a cost-friendly state and a lifestyle-friendly state as well.
Mark, you make an excellent point about that. Certainly that property tax thing, that new graduates should know that property taxes are real. When you buy your home, that does matter. And Delaware property taxes are, no offense to my friends who live in Pennsylvania, but as somebody who's owned property there as well, it's not a lot of fun with the double the property taxes. So that is absolutely, that's your raise that you get, as Mark smartly pointed out. The idea of having the traffic light phenomenon, having lived in Vermont and actually commuting up to Wilmington from rural Maryland once upon a time, I was very pleased that I had either 0 traffic lights or only had 2. I have more now, but that just means I get to stop and see the sites a little more often. Helen, tell us a little bit about St. Francis and proximity and lifestyle as well. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Khan. Yeah, so I am actually one of the people that don't live in Delaware. I live in Westchester, Pennsylvania, but have a beautiful commute down 52 past Longwood Gardens. So I love coming into Wilmington, Delaware. And as far as our physicians, we do actually have a number of physicians that do live what's called the main line in Pennsylvania, which is easy access to get onto the trains to head into Philly for the weekends or evenings, but also very commutable to come into Wilmington, Delaware via 476 and 95. I was going to mention something else there as well. Oh, flexibility and lifestyle. I've definitely taken some notes on some of the other things that our colleagues have as far as lifestyle goes. One thing I was going to mention about our primary care practices is we do have a number of primary care practices and physicians that have opted for 10-hour days, where they'll have 3 days that they have off, including the weekend. We do have a pretty active conversation around what's best for our patient populations in that clinic as far as access goes, because that's really what it's about. But we do like to work with the physicians to have a conversation around the 4 10-hour days, if that's going to be better for their lifestyle. So that's where we are with that.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Helen. And, I want to introduce one of my close colleagues here, Dr. Sydney Teal, who's chair of the Department of Family and Community Medicine and service line leader for primary care at Christiana Care. And she's been actively involved in several of the recruiting initiatives as well. One of the key things we've learned as we've done focus groups with graduating residents from the largest residency programs here is try to ask them, what is of interest to you? Where do you want to go? And that information hopefully is not only of help to you all as recruiting professionals, but also to your respective chambers of commerce and others who are in your cities, whether you're in Wilmington or Dover or Seaford or Milton or Lewis, in terms of what folks are looking for these days who are coming out of practice. And some of that intelligence that we've gotten, really, as I mentioned, much of it's about what you do outside of work. A lot of it is about work opportunities. And in the next set, we'll get to flexible work schedule type questions. But much of it is about they ask these candid questions. Where's the closest yoga studio? Where can I get a decent cup of coffee? Where do they have good schools in the area for my kids? If there are elder care in the community for my parents, is it walkable? For folks to be able to get around? Can I go morning run and so forth? So those are all critical pieces that I think all of you addressed with the lifestyle things, but just keep in mind, a lot of our folks are thinking about things that may be a little bit different from a generation ago, just like that generation was different from the previous generation. And so I just speaking for myself as a physician, my generation transitioned from being that, one physician family with the one person going out and, another partner maybe doing more of the homemaking, transition to 2 professional families and sometimes single professional families taking care of the entire unit. So it was a big change. And I think health systems have evolved to reflect that. I want to switch gears a little bit to what Fernando earlier brought up around diversity, equity, and initiatives in primary care. And diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, has become a big deal for all of us. It always was a big deal, but now we're just more attentive to it. So I just want to give our colleagues here, including our medical professionals, a chance to maybe weigh in on things we're doing, especially in primary care, perhaps, because that's mostly on the front lines of serving the community, but every field, emergency medicine, surgery, primary care, family medicine, pediatrics. How are things that you've seen it evolve in your setting, and how are things where maybe you've done something that makes it particularly attractive for colleagues coming to settle in a part of the state where, frankly, they may not have thought about as much before? So glad to hear anybody's thoughts in that area. Fernando, please go ahead.
Fernando, I think you're still on mute.
God bless you. Thank you. So where do I start? You know, it seems like to Dr. Khan's point, it's a hot and heavy topic. You know, it's what's in style, but it's not. When you look at your patient base, the families, you know, your staff needs to be reflective of that. You can have on this panel 2 Fernandos born in South America and Ecuador. However, each of us are going to have a different paradigm based on our culture, education, on our beliefs. We have these filters that are psychological filters that distorts how we see things and how we hear things. So diversity, equity, inclusion talks to that, right? We have standards, our standards that drive that. For example, standard number 1, be in the moment. Standard number 2, be authentic and humanistic. Standard number 5, respect and leverage separate realities. All of that talks to how do we go about doing that, right? Whether it's a medical assistant talking in a group of providers, it's important that we hear that medical assistant to see what they're saying. So it's not, it's things that we're weaving in and looking at, for example, our board. You know, how does our board members look? Are they diverse? I mean, we're having those uncomfortable conversations because they're not comfortable, right? To talk about that. Looking at the turnover, you know, let's look at the numbers. What's the percentage of minorities being turnover, leaving the organization? How are we doing on the recruitment pipeline? What's the diverse numbers looking for when it comes to our recruiting, from providers to frontline supervisors? All of those are just some of the things we're having right now. And it's from the top. Like every Wednesday morning at 7:30 in the morning, we have this thing that we call Drive, which is, you know, diversity, inclusion, health equity, where senior vice presidents, CEO, top management discusses some of the initiatives that's going on in the Delaware Valley area, in Florida, and what we're doing to drive that as a system, not just pockets. So lots going on. I can continue talking forever, but I'll let my colleagues also get in here and share.
Fernando, thank you for that. Thank you very much for that, for sharing that. You're right. It's a tough thing to talk about, but it's an important thing as well. And I love the fact that DEI has actually changed the type of conversation we have and actually expanded the definition of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It really means everyone. It doesn't just mean one type of diversity. And I think in Delaware, one of the things that we see sometimes, you know, I'm in northern Newcastle County, you know, much of the time I practice here with Christiana Care. But, you know, some of the diversity we want to see increasingly is diversity of folks who serve the community in Kent and Sussex counties who are from there as well. And that looks like a different kind of diversity, but that's also serving the diversity of Delaware. It's talking about diverse sexual orientations and gender orientations. And it's in addition to race and ethnicity. And sometimes I think in the past we've thought about, well, this just means making everything homogenous. Actually, to me, it means celebrating everything. And whether it's celebrating, you know, the recent Jewish New Year and Rosh Hashanah to those of you who celebrate recently, or, you know, setting the example of saying, you know, it's okay to go celebrate the Muslim Eid holiday or to celebrate Christmas. These are all good things we should share in our common humanity and celebrate each other's holidays. And from my personal perspective, eat each other's food as well. So I think that's an important part of community, the way we define it. Lauren, please go ahead if you want to jump in there.
Yes, thank you so much, Arjun. I love what you just said about celebrating everything, about everyone. I mean, race, gender, religion, creed. I mean, there's so much that goes into what diverse means, and it's something different for every single person on the call, every single person we interact with, every single person in the world, and we shouldn't lose sight of that. And to Fernando's point, you know, sometimes it is difficult to talk about because it's unknown, because we're all different kinds. And you know, some of the things that we're doing at Christiana is, yes, we like to always champion diversity and inclusion, but we don't want it to be just lip service. You know, we want to put in specific metrics, hiring goals and targets and stretch goals, not just for the immediate future, but for the long term and also permanent, and keep re-looking at those metrics and to tweak them and to push ourselves and to be aggressive in that area, to keep diversifying our talent, because the community that we serve is so diverse. And with that being said, we also want to bring in the diversity to our interview panel through recruitment. You know, not every individual that I interview is a white female. So the teams that these physicians are looking to join, we want to champion the diversity. It's already part of Christiana. So we're already looking at our interview panels and diversifying those as well. So we're really trying to do both big picture and also little things, which actually really aren't so little, when we get some really great feedback from the candidates that we interview with.
Thank you, Lauren. That's really helpful. And again, through this, this collaborative panel, the idea is to also share some strategies that all of you can use and utilize. Again, this is a lift all boats effort, right? The more healthcare professionals we get in Delaware, the more we keep them in Delaware and all of our health systems, no matter whom they go to work for. Dr. Teal and I have had several conversations around this area as well. Sydney, would you like to share your perspective and what that recruiting atmosphere is looking like these days from recruiting the best and the most diverse folks to primary care?
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Khan. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you. I became, just by background, I am a primary care physician, both family medicine and internal medicine, board certified. Came to Christiana Care about 2.5 years ago to lead primary care and to also be the chair of the Department of Family and Community Medicine. I, until recently, lived in Maryland. So I also had the opportunity to enjoy a delightful drive from Cecil County, which is a very rural community, to Newark and to Wilmington. So it's been an exciting journey. And thank you for allowing me to participate in this panel discussion, because I think the more and more I learn about Delaware and our opportunities here, I get more and more excited. Let me just start my comments by saying this. We all know, you all more than I, that we are in the years to come expecting to have a physician workforce shortage. We're starting to see that. We're starting to feel that. We certainly feel that within the areas of primary care. So very important for us to understand that our first line of defense, if you will, when it comes to reducing cost of care for our patients and making sure that we're keeping people on the side of the spectrum where they're healthy and their chronic diseases are kept under control, is really has to be our goal, unified as healthcare systems across the state. Equally as important is talking to all of these residents, to medical students, to youth who are aspiring to be physicians, to understand that we need them in medicine and we need them in the state of Delaware, small but mighty Delaware. And so that's why I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here. When it comes to diversity, health equity, and inclusion, I think Fernando hit the nail on the head. It has to start at the top. And we've been very fortunate to have such a phenomenal leader in Dr. Janice Nevin, who is also a family physician by training, who has led the charge for our health system by really saying, we are first going to put first and foremost an anti-racism policy, as many of the health systems did, all of you did, I think last year, put that in place. And then it's also embedded in our physicians' contracts to make it very clear that the expectation is that part of your citizenship and your professionalism also includes that we will not tolerate behavior that is anti-racist, anti-Semitic, anti-diversity, equity, or inclusiveness. So really, really important when it comes from the top. We have also hired our chief diversity officer, who is leading many of our efforts across the system. And then we as a medical group are leading many of the efforts to really start to break down some of those silos. We have had pockets in the past, and Lauren was speaking to this, where we want our HR partners and colleagues. We want our medical group partners and colleagues. We want our other system partners and colleagues to understand that diversity is more than just color and race. It is all different kinds of orientations, but more than anything, that diversity creates a richness in our culture, our local culture, and a richness in the culture and the talent that we bring to take care of our patient populations. We must, it's important, it's imperative to understand, especially for those of us who work in communities where, you know, the best way that we can connect with them is to have people who look like them. We know that that is really important to our community. We have heard it. We have investigated. We've held focus groups, as I'm sure many of your organizations have done the same. And so there's a significant commitment to making sure that we really are looking for the best top talent. And we want to make sure that we recruit a workforce that reflects the needs of our communities. So lots of great, exciting work happening at Christiana Care. Just happy to be here and share a few of our few of the things that work efforts on our behalf.
Great. Sorry about that. My screen vanished for just a second here. Thank you, everyone, for really speaking so articulately about the work that we're all doing across the state. And I think for our candidates who are hearing this, I think what you're hearing is there are important and inclusive spaces for you that will meet your interests and meet your family's interests. And the first step is always, you know, connect with one of these folks here. And again, you know, we sort of lead by example. Take a snapshot of the folks who are here right now. This Delaware doesn't look like any one kind of person. Delaware looks like this, and our candidates look like this, and so do our communities. So I think that's really, really important. One thing, speaking of candidates, a couple of questions I'm getting to the chat here as well. But I also want to just remind folks who are on the line who are not connecting with us on direct chat, if you'd like to jump into the question, just type it in the chat as well. We have a couple of colleagues from the state as well. If those colleagues would like to jump in and make a comment, just let us know and we'll read that out from the chat or try to elevate you in the main function here so you can speak. So just want to give folks the opportunity to jump in who might be participating in the audience live at this point. A couple of questions that have come up, as I indicated earlier, have been around work schedules and flexibility, another kind of thing that our colleagues are looking more for now. And along with that, the question we just got was around full service. Do you guys might want to practice in a rural area or urban underserved area? Would I be able to practice full service? I'll interpret that a little bit, which really means in this case, say full service family medicine or full service, say even in the case of internal medicine or pediatrics, meaning be able to use as much of your scope of training as you have been. For family medicine, typically it means the opportunity to do obstetrics, to deliver babies, to do outpatient women's health, to do pediatrics, to do inpatient hospital care, and of course to do outpatient primary care as well. So let's maybe take that question first around opportunities which you might see in your settings of being able to do full service primary care and whether those might be available. So if anybody would like to jump in there, I know many of you offer those opportunities. Fernando, please. That may have been a mistake raising hand. Okay, never mind.
No, yep. I'm good. I was like, oh, I realized I had my hand raised.
I was wondering if a pediatrician's doing obstetrics as well. That would be new.
No,
but,
yes.
I know Nemours does lots of full service pediatrics, which is very, very important.
So I just wanted to share that we do. We have such a large footprint, especially in Delaware area and surrounding areas where we do offer primary pediatric care, where they do the full service from your regular checkups to getting into some pretty detailed, interesting complexities where they also have the support of their colleagues that specialize, right? There are subspecialties, whether neurology, whether nephrology, and that I think lends also to a dynamic environment where they can expand and grow, and in addition to doing, the full spectrum of general pediatrics. So just wanted to share that. Thank you. I think you're on mute.
And I'm happy to help take that question on behalf of the team here, if you'll allow me, to my medical and resident colleagues. So full service family medicine is something that in Delaware there is the opportunity to do, and so doing the full scope of work from cradle to grave, so to speak. So all of the health systems that you see here today, all of them offer opportunities to do full service family medicine. In some cases, it might be a little bit different. So for example, at St. Francis Hospital, that's one of the few in which obstetrics is a huge part of the key curriculum, because that's really how the residency there is structured. In many of the other settings, obstetrics is important, but it's not something that you have to come out thinking you're going to deliver babies on day one. The environment in Delaware is not the kind that necessarily requires that many extra women's health providers, perhaps, but certainly in underserved areas, it is a priority. So across the state, any family physician, for example, who wants to do full spectrum can find that opportunity. If you're with Christiana Care and you want to work in women's health, you'll be connected to the women's health providers who are part of family medicine and others, and you'll be given the opportunity to explore that interest in obstetrics. Same with Bay Health. I imagine you'll be connected with folks who are doing those deliveries and training in that area. I admit to not knowing as much about Tidal Health's work in that area as well, but I know that BB Hospital also has a unit, so I imagine the general family physician can participate there. So I think Helen Convery, you want to add something from St. Francis' side?
Yeah, just coincidentally, we actually have a new physician starting with us in a couple of weeks, and she just finished up. She's a family medicine, but went on to do an additional fellowship in, I believe, biological surgeries. And so she will be joining as a family medicine physician, but again, talking about that kind of individualized conversation where she'll be in family medicine, but she'll also be working with our OBGYNs on the labor deck, doing deliveries, as well as participating with the family medicine residents in our family medicine service. So she was somebody that came to us with exactly that, looking to use the full scope of her skill set, having just finished her training. And we were able to work within all the different departments and come up with something that is going to work for her. So I'm hoping it'll be the first of many to allow our OB services as well as our family medicine services to have another provider to see.
Thank you, Helen. And I know that my friend Bob Monteleone will be certainly relieved, who's for those of you who don't know, who's the program director at St. Francis Family Medicine. He delivers babies, and the man seems to be on call 24/7 for something or the other, whether it's medical relief work or OB or his own practice. So that sounds wonderful. Dr. Teal, from Christiana's perspective, did you want to add something?
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much, Dr. Khan. So yeah, I also wanted to echo that we have a similar experience here at Christiana Care, where we have a couple of our family medicine physician attendings who are also went on to do OB fellowships and help to support our family medicine residency program and the maternal child care domain as well, and also deliver and take part of the labor and delivery rotation. But I also wanted to talk a little bit and pivot a bit, and Frank and I have been, we did a little road show over the last 6 weeks or so, Frank, I think, along with our hospitalist colleagues, because part of full spectrum also includes inpatient medicine. We know that while, at least for family medicine and those who are in internal medicine, there is a desire for primary care to be, inclusive, meaning that you're really following your patients from the inpatient experience to the outpatient experience, sort of like the old doc who saw their patients on the inpatient side. And I shouldn't actually say the old doc, because I'm dating myself, because I used to do that. So let me just say, docs who really want to provide that kind of full spectrum inpatient and ambulatory care. So we have a hybrid program. And we've had a number of clinicians who have engaged where they spend half of their time in an ambulatory practice, and they're seeing patients on the ambulatory side, and then they spend the other half of their time on our hospitalist provider service. And so this has worked out for, and again, these physicians who really want to experience both inpatient medicine and love inpatient medicine, and then also really have a passion for doing ambulatory medicine. And so, this kind of goes back to, lifestyle, joy in work, and how we can help to make that happen. And I think that that's kind of flexibility that we like to offer here at Christiana Care, and to make sure that we can, really help people feel fulfilled, especially if you're an internist and you want to do ambulatory primary care as well as inpatient medicine, or the same thing goes for family medicine. So we do offer that hybrid opportunity as well.
Thank you, Dr. Teal. One of the things that I'm glad you mentioned the lifestyle piece, because Francis and Mark have teased us with visions of the beach. And if we, tie folks to only full-time opportunities, then, we want them to enjoy those opportunities as well. So one of the questions, as I mentioned earlier, was about flexible things. And if you'd like to take the opportunity to speak, if any of these opportunities you're offering have flex time built in, or if they could be done on a part-time basis, that is likely going to be one of the major questions you get from folks who send in their CVs. So if you want to jump in on anything in particular, either as a broad principle or any particular positions, certainly you're free to comment on that if you like.
Thank you. So at Tidal Health, it's a new landscape. And to your point, there are a lot of different nuances today with the new providers coming out. And a lot of our interview teams that are interviewing physicians are made up sort of like this panel. They range in age and ethnicity. And one of the things we're really focusing on, and I'll get to the balance part, what we're really focusing on having our interview teams be retrained on how to interview. How do you be sensitive to the different needs of the providers? We try to really screen very thoroughly, not just about their clinical backgrounds, and we do a good job there, but what are their drivers? What are their satisfactions? What are they really trying to accomplish? So when we're looking at hiring family medicine folks, we're really looking at the composite human. Like you said, sometimes there are 2 earners in the household now, and there is childcare. So we have on-site childcare, which I think is a big attractor. And then we look at what do they really need to do? Do they want to be a 0.5? Do they want to be a 0.2? So we gather together and cobble together a practice based upon the need of the community, number one, of course, but we also look at the physician and what their interests are. And I think that's been working really well for us. Again, I think being physician-led and having someone who knows what it's like to be in residency, come out, take call, run a medical practice, shop for groceries, take care of the children, go to the ER, go to the emergency room with the kids, and then also have to take call and not sleep. So having that sensitivity here, I think at Tidal Health makes us a little bit unique, that we can really craft our practices that will put together physicians that have maybe similar interests, and then the diversity. So I think it's, family medicine is changing. It's not just bricks and mortar anymore. It's really people to people. And I think as we move forward, the landscape is going to change, and we have to be very sensitive to, when I got into the business 30 years ago, it was totally different. Today, there are things I don't know some words that are used. I just have some unintended biases, and I admit that myself, and I look at those each and every day, because it is something that is morphing. And when I was in orientation about a month ago, and I had 4 hospitalists starting, and they're clean-cut, new suits, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and it's a different breed of person that's coming out. We still have the Dr. Welbys of the day. I'm dating myself here. But I think in the family medicine practice, it is really about serving the community, which is exceptionally diverse. In Delaware, we have quite a large different demographic that we serve, everything from the Medis to private insurers. So how do we make sure we have the right provider inside that right practice? So for me, it's very much a strategic hire. It's not just putting somebody into a practice, if that makes sense. And then we go and we check in with them. So 30, 60, 90, how are you doing? Is it the right practice? Before they build their panel. And then as we go on, it's, what's the plan for the practice? What do we need to do long-term? And Delaware, we're just busting at the seams. How do we provide enough care out there? So we explore the telemedicine, and they can work at home and do telemedicine. How much time do they get to do their notes? So I think for us, we understand that it's a morphine environment, and we're trying to stay on top of that and train ourselves internally on what that looks like and be sensitive to what's coming from the industry to make sure that we're handling the patients and the providers. Does that make sense?
That does, Francis. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. We are approaching the close of our time here, but Lauren, if you have a quick comment, you can sneak in there before the final word. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I'll talk fast. So yes, work-life balance, quality of life, it means something different to everybody. And one of the big things that we like to champion at Christiana is your paid time off, which is over 6 weeks when you first start, and then that increases to 7 weeks as time goes on, et cetera, because we understand that people want to come to work recharged, to be their best self. And the only way to recharge is to not be at work. And so that's how we provide a really robust paid time off plan. But we also do other things. There's also the telemedicine for certain modalities of radiology. There's additional paid day off per year if volunteer work is a passion of somebody's, and maybe they want to go volunteer at the SPCA, and that brings them joy and recharges them, then great. They don't have to use their PTO. We'll give them additional day to do that. And then the flex scheduling piece. While of course we have to adhere to the needs of our community, we also have to adhere to the needs of our physicians, because they've got lives, they've got families and loved ones, and burnout's a real thing. So whenever possible, then yes, there's flex schedules, there's part-time positions that are still absolutely fully employed with Christiana, where they still have access to full benefits. They're just not working a full schedule. It's a 0.9 or less, and that's okay too. So just let us know what you need, and we'll be as accommodating as we absolutely can.
Well, I think that's an important piece to end on, and I think that's kind of the sentiment that I hope that our new physician colleagues are hearing from this team is, tell us what you want and we'll make it work for you. And we are absolutely confident from the perspective of the learners and the graduating residents, whether from Delaware or from surrounding areas. Remember, we're not averse to stealing the graduating residents from other states. I'm looking at my colleagues who are other institutions as well, who manage those as well. We'd love to get those folks and bring them in to serve Delaware. There are opportunities for all of you here. At some place we will find the right fit, and the fact that we have these wonderful folks here today on this panel, essentially here to meet your needs and talk with you and connect with you, I think that's a testament to that. So please connect with us, and we're happy to pass on your information. So to my colleagues here today, I just want to thank Pam Gardner most of all for putting this team together, and I'm going to turn it over to her to close this out. And again, thank you very much. Learned a lot from you as always.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. I'd like to start just by thanking all of our partner institutions and our recruiting colleagues and partners that are here today. This would not be possible without you, and we're so excited to be able to facilitate this collaborative initiative for Delaware, for our Delaware community, our patients, and ensuring that our community continues to have access to quality care. Again, I'd just like to thank everyone for highlighting not only the unique opportunities within your organizations and what makes your organization special, but also what makes it special and unique to be part of the Delaware community and what Delaware provides and offers for all working and living here. With that said, I'd like to also thank our participants who are here viewing live and those that will be viewing the recording later. And just want to again highlight for those that are interested in any of the opportunities and institutions highlighted today, to please not hesitate to reach out to me at pgardner@dhsa.org, and we'll be sure to connect you with the appropriate institutions and recruiting partners that we had join us today. If there were any questions that you were not able to have answered today, please also feel free to email me and we can connect and circle back with you in that manner as well. So thank you again, everyone. We really appreciate you taking time to be with us today and provide access to care in Delaware.